Lewin's Change Management Model, Unfreeze, Change, Refreeze by Kurt Lewin. Developed in the 1940s and articulated in 1947, Lewin's three-stage model became the foundation of modern organizational change management. First prepare people, then implement the shift, then stabilize the new normal. Why do so many workplace changes fail? Even when the new system is better, the new strategy makes sense, and leadership insists it is necessary. A company introduces a new process, employees resist, a manager changes expectations, staff quietly return to old habits, a business restructures, confusion spreads faster than progress, and leaders often make one costly mistake. They assume announcing change is the same as achieving change, but it is not, because people do not simply switch behavior because a memo was sent, or because management has decided. Human beings hold tightly to familiarity, to routine, to known patterns, even when those patterns are no longer effective. And this is why organizational change so often creates frustration, delay, resistance, and regression. This is exactly what social psychologist Kurt Lewin recognized. He understood that successful change is not one event, it is a psychological transition. People must first let go of the old, then move through the uncertain, and finally learn to live in the new. This became one of the most influential organizational frameworks ever created. Lewin's Change Management Model, Unfreeze, Change, Refreeze, a simple three-stage process, but one that explains why lasting change succeeds or fails. Because transformation is not just about introducing something new, it is about helping people detach from something old. The core idea of Lewin's model. At the heart of Lewin's model is one powerful truth. People resist change less because of the change itself, and more because they are still attached to the current state. Habits feel safe, routines feel predictable. The familiar feels controllable. So when leaders attempt to force a new way of working without preparing people mentally, resistance becomes natural. Lewin compared this to reshaping a block of ice. You cannot force solid ice into a new form without cracking it. First it must be softened, then reshaped, then allowed to become solid again in its new form. That is exactly how organizational behavior works. So what is the impact? Successful change is not just about new systems, it is about human readiness. Stage 1, Unfreeze. The first stage is unfreeze. This is preparation. Before any change happens, people must understand why the current way can no longer continue. This means leaders must break the comfort of the status quo, not through panic, but through awareness. Employees need to see what is not working, why change is necessary, what risks exist if nothing changes. Without this stage, people remain emotionally frozen in old habits. They may hear the announcement, but internally they are still committed to the old way. Unfreezing means creating urgency, communicating clearly, reducing denial, and preparing minds for movement. So, what is the impact? If people do not let go of the old, they will fight the new. Stage 2, Change. The second stage is change. This is the movement phase. Now the organization begins introducing new behaviors, new systems, new expectations, new processes, new ways of thinking. But this is often the messiest stage, because people are no longer in the old comfort zone, yet not fully settled into the new. There is uncertainty, questions, mistakes, testing, emotional discomfort. This is where leadership support becomes critical. Training is needed, communication is needed, patience is needed, because this phase is not instant transformation, it is guided transition. Lewin recognized that this middle period is where most people feel unstable, so leaders must not disappear once the announcement is made. So, what is the impact? Change is not a moment of instruction, it is a period of adjustment. Stage 3, refreeze. The final stage is refreeze. This is where the new behavior becomes the new normal. The danger after implementation is this: people often drift back to old habits, back to old shortcuts, back to what feels familiar. So Lewin said the change must now be stabilized. How? By embedding it into daily routines, policies, training, leadership expectations, reward systems, team culture. People need repetition, reinforcement, visible consistency. Only then does the organization stop wobbling between old and new. Refreeze means the change is no longer the new initiative. It is simply how we work now. So, what is the impact? If change is not reinforced, old habits quietly return. Why Lewin's model matters in the workplace. Many leaders focus heavily on the middle stage. They think, let's launch the new software, let's restructure the department, let's introduce the new policy. But Lewin teaches that implementation alone is not enough. You need preparation before, support during, stability after. That is why this model remains foundational in organizational development, HR transformation, culture change, leadership restructuring, technology rollouts, process improvement programs. Because it reminds leaders, change is not just technical, it is behavioral. Real workplace example. Imagine a company decides to introduce a new digital reporting system. Poor leader response. Starting Monday, everyone uses the new platform. Resistance begins instantly. Now apply Lewin. Unfreeze. Explain why the old reporting causes delays and errors. Change. Train staff. Support adoption. Answer concerns. Refreeze. Make the new platform mandatory, monitored, and integrated into workflow. Now the transition has a psychological roadmap, not just an operational command. Advantages and limitations of Lewin's model. Advantages. Simple and easy to understand, highly practical for leaders, focuses strongly on human resistance, helps structure organizational transitions, emphasizes sustaining the new behavior. Limitations. Can appear too linear for constant fast-moving environments. Modern businesses sometimes face ongoing rather than one-time change, requires strong communication to work effectively. Still, despite later advanced models, Lewin remains the grandfather of change management because his human insight is timeless. Where Lewin is used today, Lewin's model is still taught and applied across corporate change programs, leadership development, education reform, HR implementation system, transformation, public sector restructuring. Many later models, such as Kotter and ADKAR, build on the same prepare, transition, sustain logic Lewin established first. Key lesson. Kurt Lewin teaches us a truth many organizations ignore. You cannot force people into lasting change without first preparing them to release the old. This is why so many change efforts collapse. Leaders communicate the what, but forget the human process of letting go, adjusting, and stabilizing. Real transformation is not achieved the day a decision is announced. It is achieved the day new behavior becomes natural. So ask yourself, when you introduce change, are you simply demanding movement, or are you guiding people through the full psychological journey? Take a moment, pause, and reflect. Grab a pen, pencil it down. Write, unfreeze, change, refreeze. Then ask, which stage do most leaders rush past too quickly? I hope this brought value to you, and I'm wishing you abundant success. Take a moment, pause for thought. What would you like to learn and explore next?